DPW supervisor. He's only 20, but he's doing ground crew
Is he?
at Bear Mountain.
That's a good job.
It's a good job.
And
Well, we paid him.
All right, keep in mind, the mics are on, so anything you say can be picked up, so be careful.
Hello, Trustees.
I'm okay, thanks.
What's up, Gene?
Hey, Dave.
Got a couple of minutes. Okay.
I don't get emails on the weekend, so you know.
Imagine that.
And that's why I'm asking. If you really want to get there, you text me.
You're gonna have to show how this agenda tonight. My head is in a million different places. But you'll keep me between the white lines, right?
I'll do my best.
All right.
I didn't prepare it, so I'll just kind of go with you. This way. We'll just do it
You're
together.
gonna-
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
What's the,
All right, keep in mind, the mics are live, folks.
building? What is that street?
Clinton?
That's Clinton, right? One Clinton?
All right.
Do you want to start coming?
Something got caught in my throat. Just go. All right. All right. All right.
I did write a couple
Well, you did.
very short,
Okay.
very, very short.
All right. I'll let you know when the appropriate time is.
If there is one. If there is one.
All right.
Toasted coconut.
What do you think? I got that at Hannaford. It's a different.
I do like polar. I do like the polar seltzer.
I'm normally the polar grapefruit, but I've just tried the toasted coconut, and it's
Right. Eric and Tara and all that and everything.
love it. All right, if I can get everybody to stand and face the flag for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. And I want to personally thank Dave Halverson for getting me the flag spreaders, and to the American Legion Post 353 in Cornwall, Commander Pete Kopesky, for installing the spreaders on there, which just gives it a nice crisp look. All right, tonight, I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to open the June 19th, 2023 business meeting of the Board of Trustees. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, we are duly open. And the first thing I want to do is open up for public comment. There will be two opportunities for that, one at the top of the meeting and one at the end of the meeting. So anybody in the public wish to speak, you may address the board for 3 minutes. You can step up to the podium here, state your name and your address, and say whatever you want. Anybody interested? There will be an opportunity at the end of the meeting again. Okay, seeing that there are none, I'm going to go ahead and close the public comment, and we're going to move on to something which I'm going to do. I thought about doing this at the end of the meeting or the top of the meeting, and I've decided that we're going to do it at the top of the meeting tonight. So tonight is a bittersweet night for all of us, and the village board just met an attorney-client, and before we came out here, we all talked about the fact that someone who has served this village for almost 3 decades, 29 years, Gene Mahoney, who serves as our current village clerk, as well as our village treasurer. I don't know any other municipalities around here that have somebody doing both of those positions and doing it as well as she does. She started here as the deputy village clerk, and now, after 29 years, we'll be departing on June 30th, which is next Friday. There'll be plenty of time for more recognition then from the board and from a lot of other people, because I've been getting phone calls from people inside and outside the village and the town asking about her final day and, you know, whether or not they could stop by and say thank you. We're going to do an open house The Village Hall will be open from 8:30 to 4:30, our normal business hours, but it's really going to be a day to kind of celebrate Jean and stop in and say thank you, and hoping that folks can stop by to do that day. I just want to say personally, I've known Jean for probably a little over 10 years, and I stopped in one day I was coaching at the Boys and Girls Club up in Newburgh, and I was looking for a place to do a car wash, and I came in and introduced myself. She probably doesn't even remember because she gets lots of people stopping in and asking for favors, or how do I do this, or what do I fill out, and she was so helpful and got me on track then. In my 2 years and a month and change as the mayor and 2 years as a trustee on this board, I cannot tell you, in a total of 33 years of federal government service and 4 years and change in municipal government service, I have never met a better professional. I mean, someone that takes her job so damn seriously, knows her job, knows your job, knows the question you're going to ask, has the answer already. And I say to her all the time, I don't know how she finds it. If I come in and I ask her for some obscure thing from, can you find me this? It happened in 1989 to 2000. I'm not sure. And 5 minutes later, she's in with a piece of paper and said, here's the date of it, and this is what it was. I can't thank you enough. I mean, as a mayor, especially a guy that did not have any type of municipal government experience, and to have somebody like her, she served under 4 different mayors, Mayor Ed Moulton, Mayor Joe Gross, Mayor Brendan Coyne, and now finally is what she refers to this as, the reign of terror. And so she's finally gonna be able to get out of here and go spend some time with Charles and her family, and be Oma and do all those kind of things and raise grandbabies and do that. But Jean, I'll have more to say about you down the road. We'll have some other opportunities coming up in the next couple of weeks. But I just want to say thank you, not just for me, but thank you on behalf of this village. You are a true public servant. This village is better off for having you. Thank you. I want to give an opportunity. There are other members of this board that have worked with Jean and known Jean longer than me, and I wanted to give them an opportunity to say something as well. So Deputy Mayor Kane, you're up next.
So just like Jim, I have a personal note about Jean. I've been the longest tenured member on the board, 13 years. The first time I met Jean was actually at a budget meeting, and I was watching the board. And then I stopped by and asked her, can I come by to meet with you? Because I would like to talk to you about the village and the budget. And this was after hours, and Jean met with me. She probably thought I was this clueless wonder, which I was at the time. I didn't know what I was doing. And she pointed me in the right direction. She was extremely nice. She was open. She was reasonable, very transparent. And and what I realized for the 13 years since then, that Jean, as the face of this village, because that's what she was. When people come into the door to this village, the person they normally see is Jean. She's been here the longest. And she proved during my 13 years here that she's the most hardworking, reasonable, smart, reliable, strong, personable, gracious individual in this village. And on a village employee, as a village employee, she has, this board, as well as myself, has leaned on Jean on a monthly basis for my 13 years. And she has come through. What I would say, her compass is always pointed in the right direction for this village. Always means the best and looks for the best. And looks through that prism for the village. So I'd like to thank you for being there for me. I want to thank you for being the consummate professional that you have been since I've met you. And thank you for protecting this village. And you and your family should be extremely proud of what you've done. Because I can tell you this, I know this board is, and I know everyone in this village is. So I wish you and your family the best.
All right. Trustee Carnwright.
What can I say? Class of 81, class of 71. So grew up, knew her grandparents, grew up on my street, and then she raised her kids on my street with my kids. So Jean's like family to me. So, and especially to my wife. So, it's hard for me because, like I said, we're family, good friends with her parents and all her family. And then coming into this job in 2012, she's always helped me. We have a great working relationship. We can text each other and know that we're going to answer back. And you don't always have that in your professional life, but she's the one person that can answer all the questions, as Jim said, both Jim said. And I'm going to miss her. I'm going to miss her smiling face coming in the door, whether it's smiling or not. It's not always smiling. Only I know that. But anyways, it's been great working with her. And I'm glad that I hope she stays here. And I pass her house every day in my bus, so I know she's okay. And I love Charlie, and I've known Charlie forever too. So when you grow up here, and you're born and raised here, it's a little bit different for us. So, and I don't mean that as a slight to anybody, but you know, we all have a relationship here, and it's been great, Gene.
Thank you.
Mr. Brain.
I don't know why I'm the anchor person on this chain, because I'm not going to say anything better than these gentlemen just said, but I will say that any volunteer work that I do in the community, in the village, elsewhere, I have a day job, and I often think, darn, if we just had a couple of private sector people here, you know, the way we're motivated at work through salary and everything, you know, you get people who are focused, they're educated, all the things, and active and proactive. And so I often wish in those kinds of settings, I wish I had a couple of people from my job here doing this to help. The exact opposite happens when I go into work and I meet the many types of frustrations you have in the private sector. And I think, I wish Gene Mahoney was here to help me get this thing on track. So I think that in some ways that's a measure of how important she is and how above the cut she is. I mean, I first worked in I worked for a state university when I was 25 years old. I did that for a couple of years, and I thought, this is not the environment for me. And if I had had a Gene Mahoney in that role, I might still be a state employee today, because she just rises a cut above. The other thing is, just as the newest board member and somebody who I don't think encountered Gene until I first was exploring running for office, 5 years ago. She's taught me everything that I know about this, essentially, which is not that much, but everything that I do know, I learned from Jean. So as a teacher, she lets you lead yourself to the solution to a question. And I think that's been incredibly valuable for me. She doesn't, I'll ask her for an opinion. Well, what should I do? And she'll say, well, if you were to think that you might do this, you might do this. If you were to think that you would do this, you do this. She lays it out and lets you decide. And that's a mark of a quality teacher. And just the other thing I'd mention is that, tonight's an exception in that there are some women in the room. We very frequently have a kind of, as you might imagine, with Dave here and everybody, it's a macho crew from time to time. And I think it's really valuable to have the perspective of a woman in the room as often as possible. And often that only woman in the room is Jean. And I think you couldn't ask for a better partner across all of the things that we consider and do. And her support for us and for the village, as the others have said, is just exemplary and remarkable. And I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Judge, would you have anything as someone who has worked with Gene for over a decade?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I've worked with Gene since 2010. It's a long time. Gene, I don't know what I'm going to do without you. I just don't know what I'm going to do without you. We talk all the time. We meet all the time. We have our pre-meetings before we meet with the board, so I tell them what you want me to tell them so they can do what you want, so they can do what you want them to do. It's every day that I have worked with Gene, and every day I've spoken to Gene has been a good day. Even when those days were bad days, she made them good days. I don't know how I'm going to get by without you, Jean. You have a standing invitation to come and work for me anytime. Anytime. Enjoy your retirement. Really going to miss you.
All right. All right, department heads, we're gonna have time next Friday where I'm gonna have you folks weigh in on your experiences with Gene. I think some of you, one in particular, goes all the way back to that mythological class of 1981, starting when they were in the 6 years old or sixth grade? Sixth grade. All right. Do you remember who your homeroom teacher was? No.
I'll just say one of them actually retired from the PD here.
Oh, wow. All right. All right. Well, we're going to have some, like I said, a nice opportunity next Friday to really send Gene off in a good way. And we're lucky and we're blessed. We have Doris Wickheiser, who I always talk about how important it is to cut your teeth under the best. And I think Doris would agree with me that she's cut her teeth under one of the best. And I think Doris is going to be the next version of Gene. So we're looking forward to that. All right. I think, I believe that Gene would like to say a few words. So I'm going to turn it over to the outgoing village
Very
clerk.
few words. This is not my thing.
All right. Make sure that mic is on.
After almost 3 decades in the village, it's time for me to turn over the calm.
That's it.
Only he'd call it that. Handing over the con.
To all the wonderful people I've had the opportunity to work with over these years, thank you. Thank you. The time shared, friendships forged, and the incredible successes we've shared and enjoyed have been extraordinary, and they've been a huge part of my life. I'm very proud of what we've achieved, and they have been times I'm never going to forget. For everyone I've mentored, helped, or given advice to, I've also learned from. You've given me fresh ideas, different perspectives, and sometimes it's just been your energy that's renewed me and my own interest. Don't ever feel you don't belong wherever you are. You all absolutely deserve to be here. And just believe in yourself and what you bring to the workplace. Working for the village has always been interesting, and I can say that working here has certainly been an adventure. My moving on is really just creating space for someone else to have their turn. I hope everyone enjoys their work here as much as I have, and I wish you all good fortune and success in your life. And I will miss you all. Thank you.
All right. All right, say goodbye.
Well, I can say in true Gene fashion, 3/4 of her words were about other people. And that's always, I think, been Gene's greatest skill set in deflecting onto somebody else, to make sure that the board is prepared, that the village employees have what they need, and deflecting it from herself. So, Gene, you are going to be missed. Now, this is your last meeting, so we're going to get through this meeting. And then again, we want to invite everybody to stop by on Friday, June 30th, between the hours of 8:30 and 4:30, and come see Gene off in a good way. All right, moving on. First item of business is going to be the minutes. I'd like to make a motion to accept the May 15th, 2023 business meeting minutes as presented. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, the treasurer's report. The open utility balances report for the end of April reads as follows. Village water, sewer, garbage, and penalties, $227,968.52. Town water and penalties, $503,814.62. Warrant number 6, I'm going to make a motion here to approve the May 2023 warrant number 6 and authorize payment, including prepayments totaling $537,277.12. May I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. The revenue expenditure reports by fund are: the general fund revenue, $3,214,480.27, with expenditures of $1,294,541.92. Water fund revenue, $833,036.88, with expenditures of $499,221.64. The sewer fund revenue, $125,209.89, with expenditures of $97,769.31. Total receipts, $4,172,727.04, or 50.89% in anticipated revenues, and $1,891,532.87, or 23.07% in anticipated expenditures through the end of April. The amount collected in village taxes, $2,765,983.68 through May 31st, and the sewer capital fund balance is $648,878.01, including interest through May 31st. Moving on to the board department reports. The building department, trustee Carnwright.
Okay, Village of Cornwall and Hudson Building Report for May 2023. Building permits issued 9, certificate of compliance occupancy issued 21, on-site inspections 31, violations 0, stop work orders 0, municipal searches 4, solar panels 2, fire inspections 7. Manny Carmona, code enforcement officer. Thanks, Manny.
Manny, anything to add? Anything the board needs to know in regards to the building department, code enforcement, anything? Okay. All right. Any questions for Manny?
Manny, how are we doing with respect to
Thank you.
the Airbnb?
Good question.
The registrations?
They're not coming as much now, they're starting to slow down again.
Yeah.
It was going well for a while, people were getting ready for that, it kind of slowed down now.
All right.
Hand that to Bill. Hand that to Bill.
All right, I know you're getting caught up on other stuff. Once we get the cavalry coming in, then you'll be able to catch up. Okay, thank you.
All right, next is the fire department. Deputy Mayor Kane.
All right, Cornwall and Hudson Fire Department report for May 2023 with respect to events. Automatic alarms, 1 was in the city of Newburgh. There were a total of 5. Motor vehicle accidents responded to 1. EMS, 6. They had 5 drills, 2 meetings, 1 public relations detail, 2 apparatus/station maintenance events. Okay. 2 passenger vehicle fires. 1 was in the city of Newburgh. 1 standby to the city of Newburgh. 1 outdoor fire on the railroad tracks, and 2 power lines down and burning, and 1 structure fire, which was a mutual aid to Cornwall, for a total amount of events of 24. Chief Quinn notes the staff participated in the biannual simulated emergency drill at Stewart Airport with TA 415, and the staff participated at the career fair at Cornwall Central Middle School. Chief, one question, that is, so the outdoor fire on the railroad tracks, was that caused by the trains, or was it kids, or do you know?
Trains. I wasn't at that one. Trains.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's caused by the trains. Okay. All right, got it. Okay. And that's it. Charles Quinn, Fire Chief.
All right, moving on, I'd like to note that Chief Dixon has an excused absence tonight, so he is not here, and Trustee Gaylord is out of town, that is why he is not here. So without further ado, I'm going to have Trustee Brain handle the Cornwall and Hudson Police Department report for the month.
Monthly police report for May 1st through May 31st, 2023. There were 478 total calls for service. There were 3 felony calls for grand larceny. Under misdemeanors and violations, there was 1 call for petit larceny and 1 harassment or aggravated harassment call, 2 misdemeanor arrests. In vehicle and traffic calls, there were 1 personal injury accident, 5 property damage accidents, 18 traffic summonses issued, 6 traffic warnings issued, 3 parking summonses issued, 9 traffic enforcement posts, and 2 speed or radar sign postings. On non-criminal activity, there were 3 fire response calls, 1 domestic incident, 5 alarm response calls, 1 noise complaint, 8 suspicious incident calls, 10 animal complaints, 2 disorderly person calls. In departmental assists, they assisted the town of Cornwall PD 7 times, EMS 14, other agencies twice, other police agencies twice, performed 1 welfare check and 2 citizens assists. And during the month of May 2023, both COHPD officers Thompson and Kapchick attended HIDTA, the High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area Enhanced Drug ID Training in Carmel, New York. During the month of May 2023, the department applied for grant funding through the Bureau of Justice Vest Partnership Program in the amount of approximately $877.50 for future bulletproof vest purchases for police officers in the village. During the month of April 2023, during the month of April 2023, Cornwall and Hudson PD participated in Orange County Stop DWI grant funding traffic enforcement. I'm going to assume that that is May, as this is the May report. There's one other item on here which I know is on our agenda under resolutions, so I'll read it, and I guess we'll do the resolution when we do the resolutions, yeah? The police chief requests formal resolution from Cornwall and Hudson Village Board to accept the resignation and retirement of Sergeant John Pena from the Village of Cornwall and Hudson Police Department effective Saturday, July 29th, 2023, and also requests to reinstate John Pena as a part-time police officer with the Village of Cornwall and Hudson Police Department effective Tuesday, August 1st, 2023. That concludes the report. Respectfully submitted, Chief Stephen E. Dixon.
All right, why don't we go ahead and, Chief's not here, but we'll go ahead and I'll make a motion for the board to authorize the purchase of the body-worn cameras. Originally, 2 years ago, the board purchased 6 of these, which gave 3 to our full-time police officers, and then 3 that rotated between our part-time officers and 1 standby. So the board authorized going out and getting a grant to pay for an additional 6 so that we have a complete number of them for every police officer to have their own body-worn camera. So I'm going to authorize the board to,
Yeah, I would indicate that he applied for and actually received the grant money, and now he's just asking the village board to authorize him to actually submit the purchase.
understood. So we already have the grant money in place. Now, the resolution amended is, I'd like to authorize the chief to expend the funds from the grant that we have received for the purchase of the 6 additional body-worn cameras. May I have a second?
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Okay, moving on to the next item is, we just did police department, moves on to public works, and I believe that's trustee Carnwright.
Correct. Village of Cornwall, Hudson Department of Public Works, May 2023. Trash collected for the month, 111.25 tons. Recycling collected for the month, 24.1 tons. Yard waste collected for the month, 100 yards. Maintenance of village-owned vehicles and equipment continues. Mowing and trimming of village-owned properties. Blacktop patching, repaved Clark Avenue, Cherry Avenue, and the Boulevard. Replaced sidewalk from Cumberland Farms to Duncan Avenue. Repaired flower beds in the village square. Parking lot spaces and crosswalks were painted. Cleaning of storm drains has been completed. Assist the police department with traffic control devices for Memorial Day parade. Note, 2015 garbage truck is in for repairs, engine failure. New 4-wheel drive dump truck should be delivered mid-July, and our fleet service vehicle is still waiting on parts. How are we doing with that garbage truck?
I didn't get to speak to him today.
Okay, no, it's but we're getting the engine
I'll
repaired.
check in tomorrow, yeah, it was in the shop, getting repaired.
Perfect. Dave Halverson, Superintendent of Public Works.
You had the memo too, right?
Yes, give me 1 second, and I will pull that up. Oh, that's from Dixon. That's that. Do I? No. Help.
The end of last week,
I'm drawing a blank, Dave.
the appointment of the mechanic.
Got it. Okay. So what we're looking to do is explain to the board how you want to do this.
Okay, I don't have the memo in front of me, but
But just,
we interviewed several candidates. We're trying to find a replacement mechanic for Jim Sebesta, who unfortunately passed away. I'm looking to appoint Tyler Vanasquez, who currently works for us as a laborer, into the mechanic's position. He has basically 5 years' experience in other automotive repair facilities before he came to work for us. He meets the criteria to take the position. So we're looking to appoint him and then backfill to replace his position as laborer.
he started in the sanitation unit, correct?
Yes, yes.
And obviously, we have two other folks with mechanical skills that will also be available to help out as he's,
Unfortunately, I did not come prepared.
that's,
My bad. I got here late.
No
I didn't
worries.
have
I
the
remember we
memo. I
spoke
sent it at
about
the
it.
end of
Yep.
last week,
Yep,
but
yep. Not your fault. All right, so you want me to make a motion to post the,
appoint.
just make a
Tyler.
direct
We-
appoint on this.
We already posted for the position. We advertised, we interviewed. We weren't able to find somebody from the outside. We want to fill from within. If we're going to train somebody, we may as well train one of our employees.
And the position is the chief mechanic?
No, the
Just a
position will be
mechan-
auto mechanic. It's our
Just a
lowest paying.
straight auto mechanic?
Yes,
Okay.
and
And
then advertise so we can backfill his position, and once we fill that, we can move him.
What's Tyler's last name?
Vanasquez, I believe.
yeah, it's
I don't have it in
Vanasquez.
front of me. I don't have the spelling.
Is it Vanasco?
Vanasco,
Yeah, I think so. You want to do the motion?
I can give it a shot.
All
Okay,
right.
so,
So remember for the auto mechanic position, and we're gonna backfill.
Dave, when do you,
Da-
when is the appointment for effective when?
effective immediately, actually.
All right, so I'll make a motion,
Jim,
to appoint.
I'm just, Dave, is there,
He's
is there a
already
rate
been
of,
submitted to the county.
is there a rate of pay stated in the collective?
Yes, it's in
bargaining
the, it's
agreement?
in the union contract,
Okay, and
and
sub,
subject to 1 year probation.
and subject to the
Only 1
longest
year?
permissible probationary period
We can go 1 year,
permitted by Orange County Civil Service.
whatever it is.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to appoint Tyler Vanasco as, into the position of auto mechanic, subject to the terms and conditions and the, salary posted in the
Union
CBA contract, collective bargaining agreement, and subject to the permissible.
The longest
probationary period.
Longest
as-
permissible probationary period,
as per the Orange County Civil Service
rules,
rules. Can I get a second?
effective,
Hold on, wait.
effective immediately?
Oh, yeah, effective immediately, effective immediately. Can I get a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now, I'll make a second motion to post for the position of laborer,
In order to
effective
backfill.
immediately, to backfill the position that Tyler Vanasco was holding. Can I get a second on that? Okay, any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right, thank you for that, Jim. Dave, did that cover it? Gene, did that
good.
cover it? We checked all the boxes. Joe, that covered it. All right. Okay, moving on, to the water department. Trustee Brain, I believe, right? Yes.
We'll do it.
Okay.
Village of Cornwall on Hudson Water Department, May 2023 monthly report. Monthly production was 22,474,000 gallons, daily average of 725,000 gallons. The department collected 30 samples in accordance with our approved water quality monitoring plan. In terms of treatment, Black Rock Water Treatment Plant remains offline, awaiting the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Speedies permit. Transmission and distribution, there were 76 utility markouts completed, a fire flow test at 275 Hudson Street, Water shutoff at property owners' request, 1 Idlewild Park Drive and 293 Hudson Street. Water main leaks repaired on Idlewild Park Drive, 23 Mountain Road, and 260 Shore Road. Water service leaks repaired at Duncan Avenue and Dock Hill Road. Water meter pits were installed at 16 Agnes Road, 13 Giovanna Street, and the Village Bandstand. A water main valve repair was performed at Ferguson Road and Maple Street. Fire hydrant was installed on Stillman Avenue. Water service curb boxes were repaired at 27 Frost Lane, 293 Hudson Street, 30 Highland Avenue, 30 Lafayette Street, 255 Mountain Road, 72 Otterkill Road, 1, 2, 3, and 4 Mountain Crest Court, 180 Willow Avenue, and 17 Smith Road. The paved and topsoiled leak sites. Meters. They read the commercial meters, read the town meters, and the village meters. 10 final water meter readings were completed. 1 residential water meter was replaced. 12 water line inspections were completed. The routine outside property maintenance was performed, and Chief Water Plant Operator Don Bride and Superintendent Trainer attended the New York Rural Water Association Technical Training Conference at Lake Placid, May 22nd through May 24th. Sincerely, Michael P. Trainer, Sr., Water Superintendent.
Michael, anything to add?
I'll just say that we've had some inquiries about water restrictions because some surrounding communities are instituting voluntary water restrictions. At this time, there's none for our water system. We seem to be holding our own.
Excellent.
Have we started the meter replacement program yet?
We have. We're well underway, and by the end of this month, we should have about 10% of the required meters that need to be replaced will be replaced.
One of the things I want to add on here as an addendum is the village and the town will conduct a joint special meeting of the village board and the town council here in the Edward C. Moulton Jr. boardroom on September 21st at 7 p.m. At that meeting, our engineers will deliver the results of their exhaustive study of our water system, our 5 reservoirs, and our well field, all of our mains, all of our treatment facilities, and the water committee that has been working with Superintendent Trainer and of which the deputy mayor sits on, which includes members of the town and the village, will also deliver some of their advisements. So that will be September 21st. It is a Thursday, 7 o'clock. And keep in mind, I know this is all FYI stuff, but next month and the following month, so July and August, the work sessions and business meetings will be combined, so there'll only be one meeting. Okay, moving on now is to the New Windsor EMS and Cornwall EMS and the deputy mayor.
Okay, so the report for May 2023. With respect to personnel, 1 new paramedic and 1 new EMT, 5 volunteer applications, 1 employee was out for extended period of time for a cancer treatment. As for operations, there were 422 total dispatches, 100% of the calls were covered. And the chief notes this was the busiest month in their history. 302 patients were transported. We are over 2,000 calls for the year, and they're on track for 4,800 calls in 2023. 299 calls were to New Windsor, 45 to Cornwall, and 18 for the village of Cornwall and Hudson. New Windsor units covered 8 calls in Cornwall and the village. Cornwall units covered 17 calls in New Windsor, and mutual aid provided 62 times to various locations or private transports. The average response time is 6 minutes 52 seconds in New Windsor, 7 minutes 17 seconds in Cornwall, and 7 minutes and 43 seconds in Cornwall and Hudson. As for equipment and training, 1 ambulance is out of service with an issue obtaining parts from Ford for brakes. Electric issues were repaired, which were reported last month. A new ambulance for New Windsor still should arrive in the September-October timeframe. The grant from Assemblyman Ekus is pending New York State approval for $50,000 in training and education funding. There were no vehicle accidents, and they attended the SWF annual drill. As for administrative and other, the SOP manual is still being updated. The final draft should be completed by the end of June. The audit is complete. A copy was sent to New Windsor Town Hall. New uniforms were ordered, and they're 3 to 4 weeks out. The SBA is asking for COVID funding back as they didn't approve loan forgiveness. Congressman Ryan's office is trying to assist them. As, a meeting with EMS agencies with Senator Skoufis regarding needs for EMS occurred. The New York State 2023 budget provided additional funding for EMS billing of Medicaid. They attended both the New Windsor and Cornwall Memorial Day parades. EMS Week was in May, multiple events held for the staff. Special thanks to Supervisor Myers, Wojciechowski, and Mayor Galliano for stopping and seeing the staff and providing food. It was much appreciated. And they're working with New Windsor to create an outside area for crews to relax while on duty. Michael Big, Chief. And that's it.
Thank you. Also important to note tonight, I believe New Windsor EMS and Cornwall EMS leadership are at the 911 Center in Goshen receiving a number of county awards. So unfortunately, myself and the town supervisor could not be there. We both had meetings, but it's nice to know that they're being recognized for their incredible service. All right, moving on. So that's it in regards to the monthly department reports. We'll move on to resolutions. Okay. It is with deep regret that I'm going to ask the board to accept the resignation of Cornwall and Hudson Police Department Police Sergeant John Pena. John's been here for, I think, almost 22 years, and gave a copy of a letter expressing his intentions to the chief. It's short, and I'll read it. And it says, "Dear Chief Dixon, it is with mixed emotions that I submit my resignation from my position as a police sergeant with the Cornwall and Hudson Police Department. I will be retiring effective July 29th, 2023. My last day of work on the job will be Friday, July 28th, 2023 at 3 p.m. Also, please reinstate me on Tuesday, August 1st, 2023 as a part-time police officer." So Sergeant Pena is going to continue to work in the law enforcement realm. You may see him in another agency close by soon, but would like to remain in the department. He would lose his sergeant stripes. You have to step down, and would come back as a patrol officer. So I'm going to make a motion first to the board to accept the resignation of Police Sergeant John Pena, effective July 28, 2023, with regrets. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Then I'm going to make a motion to reinstate Police Sergeant John Pena, not to the position of sergeant, but to the position of officer, effective August 1st, 2023. May I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right. Moving on, next item of business, certified planner request for proposals. I'm going to make a motion to reject, I believe it was 6. Was that right, Gene? 6 proposals that the village board received in response to an RFP, a request for proposals, for a certified planner from Nelson Pope Voorhees, from Greenwood Associates, from Cameron Engineering, from AKRF Consultants, from Parameter Consultants, and finally from H&H Consultants. May I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, which moves me into the New York Forward Grant Consultant. The reason why we rejected those 6 proposals is that we found someone we thought was a perfect fit. This person had worked very closely on our comprehensive plan. This person works currently for the town as a planner for the town. She is part of Lankin Tully, the law and engineering firm, and her name is Kristen O'Donnell. So she sent a letter after I met with her. As the New York Forward grant process is going forward, I recognize the need to have the planner actively engaged in this. She had already been engaged on behalf of the town, which made this a simple thing. The proposal that she sent us is limited only to assistance to the village through the New York Forward grant process, which is to include attendance at meetings and preparation of grant materials in support of village-sponsored grant-related projects. based on the meeting schedule and the initial kickoff meeting with state grant staff and assumed 3 village projects to be put forth in the New York Forward grant, we anticipate the estimated cost for this process will be $5,000. Billing will be based on actual time spent in accordance with the attached rate schedule. The village board has approved previously $20,000 in our budget to pay for a planner. And keep in mind, we do want to bring a planner on ultimately to look at our zoning and to help us implement recommendations that are in the comprehensive plan. So this is just to begin the New York Forward process. We did not want to, hire somebody new to have to learn and catch up, and she's well-positioned for this. So, with that said, I'm going to make a motion to accept the proposal for the New York Forward grant consultant from Lankin Tully. May I have a second? Second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right. Next item on resolutions is for a special event permit application approval. So I'd like to make a motion with conditions to approve the special event permits of Third Wheel Entertainment, a food truck at the Bandstand Concert Series. So the Bandstand Concert Series begin toward the end of May, and they go every Tuesday until the last Tuesday in September. The 2/3 of them begin at 6:30 and end at 8. As we get closer into the fall timeframe, we begin at 6, and the band concert finishes at 7:30. Now, I was discussing this with the deputy mayor earlier today, and just want to get a sense on where we would position a food truck for the concerts. Like, where does the village board feel comfortable having a food truck park? Anybody have any thoughts on that?
In our discussion, you don't want to take away from the band, and that you can hear the band. You don't want to necessarily position it in front of one of the other businesses. So I'm thinking across two places potentially. So in front of the jeweler, meaning on Hudson Street.
Or
So you're right
Idlewild.
across, or
Idlewild.
well, you're across. I'm trying to distance it a little bit from the other businesses. So they have their spots. So it'd be on Hudson Street, but it's right across from the park there, the bandstand, or on the other side across the street, where between Dr. Seitz and the hair cutting or the nail salon, between that and Cumberland Farms, that short stretch there.
What about the top where the municipal lot is and sitting right there, so where Maple Avenue Extension cuts through, and it would sit right there where people could access it? It actually sits a little bit higher, so
In the
people would
parking
see
lot.
it. In the parking lot, but
I agree with that.
allow them to take up 3 or 4 parking spaces. We could block that off for them. Sir, I'm guessing that you want to talk about this.
Do I have to stand over there?
Well, we typically wait till the end, but I'll guess what? We'll change parliamentary procedures since this is involving you. Absolutely. Come on up. Come on up. Absolutely.
First off, it's great to be amongst neighbors and friends and.
All right, well, you have to state your name first and
My
where you
name is
live.
Emmanuel Lathoris. Am I on?
Yes,
Okay.
you're on.
Emmanuel Lathoris. It is great to
Where
be.
do you
among-
live?
Oh, on West Street, 7 West Street.
7 West Street. Okay. All right, what are your thoughts on this?
My thought was, I think that it would be good to be in the parking lot as opposed to having people walking across the streets and maybe kind of,
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Fine.
good
I didn't
idea.
even think about the parking lot.
Yeah, yeah.
if it could be,
Okay. What I would like you to do, if the board approves this, what I would like you to do is also to touch base with, do you happen to know Eddie Hurley, who is the person that books all of our concerts?
I do know of him, but I haven't,
I'll put the
met
two
him.
of you in touch, because
Okay.
we coordinate, and when there's rain dates and things like that, sometimes we
Okay.
move dates around, and just so you're on the same sheet of music, if a date gets moved or whatever, and just so Eddie knows about it. Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I just had a question in regards to, does your truck make a decent amount of noise?
I have Honda generators, 22 I-22s, which are like a conversational.
Okay, all right. 'cause I'm
Noise.
just thinking, in the parking lot behind it, you're gonna have the band, you're gonna be looking at the band, so I'm just saying, maybe, I'm not saying all the way down, but a little.
Yeah, because the
Further
band,
down.
because their speakers are pointed
Yeah.
out towards
Yeah.
Hudson Street.
Yeah.
I put the generator behind the truck.
Yeah,
And
that's
you
why.
can, people ask, do you have a
All
generator?
right, so what kind of food are you preparing?
Well, I work with Las Margaritas, and we were talking about a bit of a menu. Like I do tacos, I do hamburgers. He wants to do like ceviche and maybe some guacamole and chips in a bag, and nice for people.
All
So
right, what about drinks? No alcoholic drinks, right?
no, only after.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
All right.
Not even then.
Any other questions from the board in regard to positioning? Are we comfortable with that?
You had your truck at the movie, right? At the 4th
Correct.
of July?
Correct.
Yeah.
Not 4th of July, you mean at the movies on the Hudson?
The fundraiser for 4th of July.
Fundraiser for 4th
I
of
gave out
July.
little jets to the kids.
Got it.
It was very good. It was very nice.
I appreciate
Everybody
that.
appreciated it. And I do, Jim, I get your idea, but I really think the parking lot just because.
No, I didn't, I agree. I
Because
didn't even
we
think of it.
staged 2 police officers there for containment during the thing, and still people crossing, people making that right to go up Duncan Avenue, that which is me. People are always coming across and they're cutting through from the middle of the.
Total, no, I agree. When I was thinking, I was like, well, he's gonna want the most exposure to see it. That's why I didn't
It's
think
very
about the
quiet,
about
though.
the parking lot.
We
but
had
that's
that
fine.
movie that night, and the generator was behind the truck, and you couldn't even hear it.
And I think the way people are situated looking at the bandstand and you being in the lot, they're gonna see you.
Yeah.
So now the only street that would have to be crossed is the Maple Avenue extension, but that's obviously a much more lower density is in regards to cars, so I think that
Especially
would
on
be
that
the.
night.
Yeah, yeah. All right, from the board, any other questions? What's your last name again, sir?
Lathoris.
How do you, what is it?
Lathoris.
Lathoris?
Yeah, Lathoris.
Lathoris. All right. Any other questions for Mr. Lathoris in regards to his plan? Okay. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a motion to approve the special event permit of Third Wheel Entertainment for a food truck to be positioned at the bandstand concerts, working with the police to make sure that you have a safe spot up top in the municipal lot. And I will get you the contact information from Mr. Hurley so that you can coordinate with him. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
I've been witness to Mr. Lathoris outfitting his vehicle for some period of time and, doing it all by hand in his driveway and got all the permits and everything. And I applaud his entrepreneurial spirit and I'm glad that we're about to pass this particular piece of exposure, I assume.
All right, so before we take the vote, let me just check with Gene on this real quick. So this is just for the remaining concerts at the bandstand on Tuesday nights between the prescribed hours. Obviously, you're gonna set up early, and obviously, you're gonna break down after that. Any other thing, like if he's doing movies on the Hudson and things like that, that requires a separate permit, correct?
Yeah, and the clerk will correct me if I'm wrong, for maybe not for the last time, but as I believe she explained it to me, it's that any time that a food truck that has a peddler must have already a peddler's license, as well as all of the Board of Health and other certifications.
Peddler's
code
license,
enforcement.
inspection by the building inspector, code enforcement officer, and a Department of Health certificate, and he has all of those.
Right, and they do not need a special permit to operate on private property with those things in place. But in the event that somebody wants to operate on public property, we do have to give them a special permit, so.
Makes sense. All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
There you have it, sir.
Thank you, board, and
You're welcome.
enjoy your retirement.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you've done.
She's just a phone call away. All right, moving on. The next thing is a special permit application approval for the Motivate 5K Run Walk, October 22nd. And this one, I'm just going to let you guys know, October 22nd is a Sunday. Now, the the run walk is going to take place on Hudson Street. Now, in the past, there had been some complaints from Cornwall Presbyterian Church. I had spoken to the previous pastor. I will do the same this time. I will get with Chief Steve Dixon because we want to make sure that some of their elderly congregants have a place to park. We normally put cones down on the side of Cornwall and Hudson Elementary School adjacent to the playground for their elderly folks, and we ensure that there's no music, loud music. I believe their services are at 10 a.m. on a Sunday. I have to make sure that the loud music, and last time that they did this, I actually went into the church, to the service, to make sure that it did not come into the windows, and it didn't. But I'll make sure that doesn't happen. I think they're not doing it actually at the firehouse, are they, Mike? I thought they said they were moving it up a little bit, and I got to get a handle on exactly where that is. Gina, are you familiar with where they were talking of doing it?
I'm not.
Because it was Eileen, and I'll circle back to her.
Christine, right?
Well, I think it's Eileen Hartman that was the one that had come in to apply for this.
Oh,
Yeah, it was Eileen.
wow, because
Yeah.
Motivate is Christine Stathis.
Yeah, Christine Stathis, yes, yeah. So I think Eileen was involved because it was the Greater Cornwall Chamber of Commerce type
Okay,
thing.
gotcha.
But I think they were looking at doing it down more towards where the jeweler shop and Motivate is. All right,
okay, yeah.
is the board okay with approving the Motivate 5K Run Walk October 22nd? May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, speaking of the Cornwall Presbyterian Church, which has been around since the 19th century, I'd like to make a motion to approve the Cornwall Presbyterian Church's worship service on September 10th at Donahue Memorial Park. May I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion?
What time?
I don't have that here, but I imagine it would probably be at the same time, like around 10 o'clock when their worship service is, but we can confirm that.
All right, just 10
Yeah.
to 12 or whatever.
And wouldn't it be wonderful if we had a covered pavilion, Dave, when that thing's down there? That will be such a perfect place for this. It's coming, it's coming. All right, before Gene leaves, it's coming, right? Yeah. All right, may I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Donahue Farm planning document. Bill, are we really ready to approve that? Or do I want to make sure that we've allowed the board to take a look at the proposed projects? Does the board feel comfortable having taken a look at the proposed projects from the Donahue Committee? That is the only thing that's being added to the document that we went through in excruciating detail and all agreed with. Anybody have any problems?
And that was the PDF that Dave attached to the
Yeah,
email to us,
it's-
sort of a,
Lengthy, but.
where they grouped together certain projects.
Which is really going to be the meat and potatoes of what we're submitting for New York Forward. It's Donahue Committee recommendations, which involve the riverfront and Donahue Farm property and places in between. Does anybody need more time in that, or are we approving that document tonight? I mean, we went through and had a special meeting just to go through that document line by line.
I will say that essentially everything in these grouped projects is that pertains to Donahue Farm is included in the Donahue Farm draft plan that they gave us. So this is just another context for those same projects.
Yeah. And they're recommendations. They're what the Donahue Committee is looking at and saying, hey, these would be things where we should put our efforts in to try and get grants or to focus on. I'm good. All right. Jave, you're good?
Yep.
All right, then I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve the Donahue Farm planning document, which includes the PDF that contains the suggested projects as offered by the Donahue Committee. May I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, so that document now is an actual village document, and it is live and well. It is a living, breathing document now.
Yeah, but of
not
course,
just a
as
draft.
we've just passed it, I just will add a footnote that I'm not certain that Scenic Hudson has seen this packaging of these recommendations. We will make sure to share it with them. They have seen all of the individual projects that are listed in these recommendations.
Yeah.
Obviously, the conservation easement governs whether or not we're able to execute on.
Well said. And obviously, New York State would require that before they would
Yep.
open their purses and let us have money for projects. Okay, excellent, that's done. What do I need to do?
That was a long time
Right, I
coming.
know, I'm excited about
That's a
that.
couple of years.
What do I need to do in this thing?
It was like the lighting law.
It is.
No, Joe. No, it wasn't, Joe.
Okay.
Trust me.
Start with,
Yep.
it's an IMA to agree between the county and us.
Okay.
Just kind of-
All right, so the next thing is the CD, I want to say CBGBs, because everybody knows that place in the city, but it's the CDBG, which stands for Community Development Block Grant Program. Did I get that right? Awesome. All right, so I'm going to enter this document as is, but I am going to read, go to where it says, now therefore it is hereby agreed by the county and the participating municipality, which is Cornwall and Hudson, as follows. Number one, purpose of this agreement is to establish a legal mechanism through which the county may apply for, receive, and disperse federal funds available to eligible counties under the CDBG, home, and ESG programs, and to take such actions in the benefits of these programs. Federal funds received by the county shall be for such functions as urban renewal, water and sewer facilities, neighborhood facilities, public facilities, open space housing activities, prevention of homelessness, and such other purposes as are authorized by the acts. Read this too? Okay. All this or just this one right here? Okay. And whereas the municipality and the county previously entered into a cooperation agreement covering the same subject matter, which has been subsequently amended and automatically renewed by resolution and remained in full force and effect for all consecutive 3-year urban county qualification periods, including fiscal years 2021, 2022, and 2023. And whereas the municipality has determined that it is desirable and is in the public interest for the municipality to be included in the urban county for the 3-year qualification cycle of fiscal years 2024, 2025, and 2026. And the village clerk tells me that that covers the rest of it, except for me to suggest that I am going to make a resolution that this entire document be placed in, as per document in regards to the CDBG cooperative agreement. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right. Moving on to accepting the IMA regarding summer camp with the town of Cornwall. So this summer camp IMA started off with a handshake deal between the town and the village. We understand that handshake deals are not the way that these things are done. They have to be done by legal document. But it's related to the fact that the town and the village are combining camp this summer, and camp is going to be held at Lee Road. This is due to the fact that 5 of the 6 facilities that the Cornwall Central School District has are going to be under serious construction and renovation, including Lee Road, but just not to the excess of some of the other places. So we will not be doing village camp at Cornwall and Hudson Elementary School. We'll be conjoining our camp with the town camp. We certainly couldn't have 2 different, tuition rates. We couldn't have different hours. So we agreed on a total of 250 children. We agreed on a tuition of $300 per child for 6 weeks, which is a heck of a deal when you consider that the town charged $300 per 3-week session last year. So it was $600 per kid, and all kids it'll be $300. In so doing that, we have to, and yes, you can look around, it is an absolute steal, especially since we're expanding the hours. The village normally runs its camp from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Camp will now run from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. There will be a police officer at camp. The village is has the heavy end of the piano on this one, but the town will be supporting that as they get their manpower back up to snuff, since they're doing some hiring now. But in so doing that, we're going to have to subsidize the camp. So the original deal was, we thought, after talking to the financial planner for the town, or the treasurer, was that it was going to be about $30,000 out of pocket, which the village and the town boards both obviously agreed that $15,000 apiece would be an appropriate split. And Joe, having said that, I'll move to the document that you received that that the town council last Tuesday night voted to approve, that was drafted by counsel for the town. You've taken a look at it, and you advised the village board and attorney-client on it tonight. And can you just give a couple of highlights of it and your advisements of same.
The IMA goes in steps, right? So the first tranche, so to speak, is that it's expected that the program will cost potentially $30,000. That would be split. Then it goes to the $40,000 level and says that that would be split. If the and the town and the village will continue to share the cost up until the point that the total cost of the town's program is $70,000. If it's going to go over that amount, then the town would need the village's permission. Now, if the village denies that, if the village does not want to exceed that threshold, the town's free to act. They can continue to spend the money or not. If the village does agree, then again, we will share the amount above that equally with the town.
Makes sense? I mean, we talked about this. So I do not anticipate, and I know that doesn't matter because it's the document, but I don't anticipate that we would get anywhere close to that. But understand that the town has been operating in the black. Summer camp is a moneymaker. It's run by their rec department. They charge more for it, and they make money on it. It's a budget line where they make money. The village typically breaks even, or we subsidize, am I right, Gene? Subsidize slightly by $1,000 or a few $1,000s. So to make this work, to make these numbers work, to keep the rate so low for 6 weeks of essentially 5 hours a day, 5 days a week, childcare, there's gonna be some subsidizing involved in it. I don't anticipate this will get anywhere near that $70,000 threshold, because when we worked out the numbers earlier with the town treasurer, it was agreed upon it would be around 30, but I will certainly keep the board advised on that. But I am gonna ask the board to sign the IMA tonight to approve the IMA. So without further ado, I'm gonna make a motion that authorizes the mayor to execute the intermunicipal agreement with the town of Cornwall for the operation of the municipal youth summer camp, subject to the review and approval as to the form by the attorney for the village. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, moving on. I know this is what some people have been waiting for as they sat patiently in the audience tonight. Obviously, with Gene's departure, our deputy village clerk, Mrs. Doris Wickizer, is going to be moving up to the village clerk position. The secretary to the planning board, Mrs. Megan Gishwind, is going to be moving up from her position down at the DPW building up here to fill Doris's role as the deputy village clerk. And then Stephanie Zagareris, and I hope I didn't butcher her name, who works as a part-time employee for the water department, is going to be taking on some of the billing as we split some of the duty descriptions for Doris's former position, which was deputy village clerk, but also water clerk. Is that the official title? Is it water clerk?
No, her official title is deputy village clerk, but her other duties as assigned included water administration.
Water administration. Okay. All right. So in doing so, I met with each of the employees I just mentioned, and we are going to look to make effective July 1st. The village clerk's last day will be June 30th. July 1st. Which is the weekend, to make this effective. Obviously, Monday is July 3rd. That would be the first day that these folks would start in their new roles or take on their new responsibilities. The next day is 4th of July, and then obviously the next day we'd be back to work. But in so doing, and to make this happen, because they're going to be doing additional responsibilities, and then once Gene leaves officially in September, then they would move into those roles full-time. So I'm going to make a motion to authorize a pay increase for Doris Wickizer, the current deputy village clerk, from $31 per hour to $36 per hour, beginning July 1st and ending September 30th. Obviously, Doris would have to be reappointed after September 30th, because that's when Gene will officially be off the books. So, may I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right. Second is I'm going to make a motion to authorize a pay increase for Megan Gishwin, the Planning Board Secretary, from $24.95 to $28 per hour from July 1st, again, to September 30th, at which point she'll have to be reappointed. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. And lastly, I'm going to make a motion to authorize a pay increase for Stephanie Zagareras, part-time clerk, from $17.92 an hour to $21 per hour, beginning July 1st and ending on September 30th, at which point she would have to be reappointed. May I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Sir?
Mr. Mayor, why are you indicating that they would have to be reappointed?
Because on September 30th, this pay would only, how does this work? So on September 30th, we can finally put them in that position. They're still going to be in their former position as long as Jean is still on the books. Once Jean is officially gone in September 30th, they now have that title. We're giving them the pay while they're doing that job in an interim capacity, but they won't have the title. Make sense?
I'm not sure yet. But they're still deputies, right? Deputy clerks. So their positions with the village are not changing, right? Their job duties are changing.
Right. They'll be taking on more responsibility. They'll be doing other things. And
right,
so,
The acting.
Understood.
right. So they would have to be appointed officially once she is no longer on the books.
But their titles will not change September 30th.
Until I'm officially out of my
But
title.
when you do, sorry, I didn't realize this was going to be an issue. I would have discussed it beforehand. But so that October 1st date, what positions will they hold?
The board will have to appoint them to fill my unexpired term of office and set their salary going forward at that position then.
Doris,
Filtered Doris' position.
Doris, I understand. Okay, all right, that's,
We're good?
yes.
Okay. All right. Well, so.
No,
so-
no,
so, you
I-
know, when someone has use or lose, right? And someone is gone, and they're gone. We
yeah.
cannot post somebody to that position until that person is off the books.
No, that I understand.
So that's why I was saying they would have to be appointed to those positions the day she's off the books.
Fine, understood.
Okay. All right. So we just need a vote on the last one then, on Stephanie, right? Correct. We got a vote? Okay, so all in favor, okay, good. All right, so moving forward,
Actually, I'm not sure we did. vote.
I don't think we did either. Yeah, I think.
offered additional
Yeah, second, all in favor? Aye. Okay. All right, next item, the approval of the purchase of a water maintenance vehicle. The board talked about this at the work session. Superintendent Trainer briefed us, and then, Mike, real quick, down and dirty, want to remind us again what we're looking to do?
Yeah, we sold our 2002 water maintenance vehicle last year. It was no longer serviceable, and we're looking to replace that. It's a Chevy 5500 with a crane body on it. Since we've taken on a lot of the repair work ourselves, this vehicle will allow us to do a little bit more. It'll allow us to pull our own wells, do our own welding out in the field. It'll give us generator hydraulics and such.
Okay. All right. Board, have any questions for Michael before I put this up for a
No,
vote?
just for the general public though, that'll be a shared vehicle between, all departments that need it.
But it'll be a water department vehicle, but obviously all of our vehicles cross-used. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna make a motion to approve the purchase of a new maintenance vehicle through the New York State Vehicle Marketplace for the Water Department from Basil Chevrolet, not to exceed $194,190.04, with expected delivery in the spring of 2024. Spring of 2024. May I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All right, next item, the treasurer position. So, I've been in contact, with the village board and had a number of discussions. We interviewed a number of people for the part-time treasurer position. The village clerk has been doing a combined or conjoined village clerk responsibilities with treasurer responsibilities for, Gene, 10 years? It's been close to that? 12 years. So we are separating those two positions, and we will be hiring a part-time village treasurer. And she's here in the audience tonight, Miss, am I pronouncing your name right? Miss Ferrier? All right, Gabrielle Ferrier, Ferrier, came in and interviewed with us and did an outstanding job. Came in to kind of see what the job entailed and see if it was going to be a good fit, and felt that it was. I spoke to the board about it, and we are looking at appointing Ms. Ferrier as our part-time village treasurer to begin on Monday, June 26th. And to begin with, and we'll adjust it as we see fit, but to work between the hours of 12:30 and 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday for a total of 20 hours per week. And what did I do wrong here?
The term expires in
Oh.
April, not June.
Got it. And her term would expire on April 1st of 2024 at the rate of $28 per hour, and subject to the longest probationary term permitted by the Orange County Rules for Civil Service, which is what we do with everybody. What am I missing?
My term expires at the reorg, so she would have to expire at the reorg,
Are we talking about your,
the treasurer.
okay, but that's not what the county had on their schedules.
Well, they're thinking we're a June to May thing. We're March to February. So none of our terms expire in June. She's being appointed in June, but if she's gonna complete my term of office, my term ends in April of 2024, subject to the longest term possible of the Orange County
Probationary period.
your words.
All right, what do you want to say, Joe?
The issue that came up this morning
Yes.
was that the county did not have anyone in that position.
Correct. No, you have in your notes here that the expiration of the term would be June 18th, 2024.
But it's actually April 1st.
25. It's a 2-year appointment.
Oh,
But it-
2025. you're
That's the
And it takes-
adjustment. All right, so you're good with the April 1st. What you're saying is,
Well,
it-
we
you're-
can't, we can't appoint someone retroactively when that position wasn't filled.
No, but wouldn't she be filling out the term, the unexpired portion of the term of Jean?
Not, we believe so, but not according to the county.
We don't care what the county.
So Joe, what do we need to do? Obviously, I need to amend that to say that
This is the problem.
the term is a
Straight out,
two-year term.
This is the problem.
And this is not something, since I just found out about this, Ms. Ferrier
It
does not
doesn't-
even,
it
does
doesn't
not even
really-
know this.
I know. It's,
You don't even know this, but it is,
don't,
so
don't
it is
be-
a
don't be
two-year,
frightened. It's okay. It's okay.
so it is a,
There is
can I
no
tell her
one.
that it's a two-year
No,
appointment?
let him finish.
Okay,
There is no one in that position. Gene wasn't in that position.
okay.
So you can't have someone fill the balance of the term of someone that wasn't there.
That's how you read that.
So you have to do it from today,
Joe, may I ask?
according to the county.
May I ask? Gene has been at reorg meetings, hired by the village as
For 13 years,
treasurer.
yes.
And
But that's not
therefore-
what the county says.
So what you're saying is the only way we get around it is to get it back online with the April 1 appointments, the April
No,
appointments.
no,
Hold
you
on,
can't-
Hold on. Is that we go to Orange County and we tell Orange County that Gene's been the part-time treasurer.
That
for
could
a
be,
dozen
yes,
years.
that,
Then they
that's
accept it,
possible, if
so
they accept.
then she's filling out the Ms. Ferrier would fill out the unexpired term. Okay.
Yes, if we can get it corrected, that would
Okay.
be what actually happened.
Okay.
We have minutes that say that we have
What-
appointed her to the position.
Joe, how long will it typically
I know. We had this is the same issue we had with the water department person
Yeah.
about a year and a half ago.
But how long does it take the county if we did this? If we advise them, okay, look, it's proof.
The county has already approved her to be
Right.
village treasurer.
That's true.
So as far as they're concerned.
That's fine. I'm just.
She's all set. We had that part of the conversation today. The issue
all that
was about how to make, because she's considered a public official.
Yeah.
And therefore, there's different civil service rules, and that's what we were having the conversation about.
That's a separate issue.
So what are you advising we can do tonight? Because she's starting on June 26th, so what do we need to do?
I don't know how quickly we can get the starting date corrected with the county. What you can do is make the motion to permit her to fill the unexpired balance of Jean's term. What I am saying is if that doesn't get corrected for whatever reason, I think the board then would just have to correct that sometime in the future and say the term started tonight.
Because by default, that would happen, because it wouldn't be recognized, so by default, we'd have to recognize.
Right,
it.
that's that, exactly.
Yeah.
But Joe, as I remember what we were told on the phone today, is that they said she's already approved, they already have her on the books. All we have to do is send the MSD form with the hiring of her this evening, and they can make the adjustment on their records, and they're good to go.
I'm not concerned with the appointment, and they said that she was approved as of May 25th, if that was the date. They're using the term appointment in a different context than we're using the term appointment. They think she has already been hired effective May 25th. Actually, she gets hired tonight. So they're kind of going by, their administrative rules. So for tonight's purposes, and we'll try to resolve this with the county.
How do I amend this for tonight?
For tonight's purposes, the resolution would be to appoint Ms. Ferrier to the balance of the unexpired term.
As village treasurer for the balance of the unexpired term at the rate of $28 per hour and subject to the longest probationary term permitted by the Orange County Rules for Civil Service, and leave it there.
So moved.
All right, may I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Oh, wait a minute, wait.
Oh,
Wait.
you had to,
Bill, you
you had to
had
go
to.
down there, Bill.
No, it's fine.
Dark
It's
rabbit hole,
just-
Bill.
It's just clarification. The
You can't clarify it.
I know, it's unclarifiable at this time, but, okay, you can't clarify it. I won't attempt.
I will,
you.
but,
All right.
and with the caveat, we'll work with the county to try to correct this. If we can't correct the original
Oh.
date of the term, we'll just come back and we will correct it on the record as appropriate at some future meeting. That's really all you can do at this point.
Sorry, prior to the chance to, well, we'll correct the record, but does the unexpired term, we believe, ends April 1st, 2024?
It would be,
Yeah.
no,
25.
as Joe corrected me, it would be
April
April
1st.
7th.
You were most recently
April
appointed
7th.
in 23, in
2025.
Yep, okay.
Which hopefully runs longer than the current attorney for the village's term.
Joe, you worked so hard to get your own nameplate. Don't mess it up.
Yeah.
I know, it's
How
not.
many years did it
I
take you
know.
to get your own nameplate?
It's not even dusty yet.
So I moved, can I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations, welcome.
All right, congratulations. And what we learned tonight before you got here was that the appointment was for 2 years. You are being appointed to one of two positions in the village that are 2-year appointments. Everyone else's is a year. It's yours and the village clerks. Those are the only two-year appointments. So,
See, that's what
which
happens.
doesn't mean if you want to leave, you can't leave. It's like no one's going to force you back anyhow. All right.
See, that
All right, congratulations and welcome on board, okay? All right, and we'll work through that other stuff and get that
that-
figured out.
that-
All right,
that-
congratulations.
No, I know, you're good.
You guys don't have to stay here if you don't want to,
Yeah.
it's painful.
Yeah,
So Gabrielle, I'll have you to come in at some point and sign the oath of office book, and we'll get you situated.
all right? Okay, all right. All right, well, congratulations and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Part-time building inspector position. The code enforcement officer and I had a conversation about that today. He is looking at a potential resume and determining whether or not the potential person that put in for it, since the last batch that we had gotten, we were not able to find anybody that was qualified or suited for employment. So he's looking at another one, and we will keep the board apprised. Manny, did I say it the right way? Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Sir,
in the resolution that was just passed,
we're back on the treasurer? You better leave before he did it.
Should have left.
All right, Joe, I'm all ears.
did the language include the appointment for the balance of the term subject to the longest probationary period? Did you got that?
By ordinance.
Okay, I just want, listen, you're,
I have it all
I
written
just
down.
want to,
It's all written down. It
want to
did.
make sure we got it in there.
It did.
It is
Okay.
in there.
All right.
I make a motion to remove his, his nameplate. You won't get a second.
Don't worry, Joe, we won't second it.
Oh, my gosh, Joe. All right, moving on. Resignation of Miss Sarita Bandekar. Sarita has served for a number of years on our Zoning Board of Appeals. She requested a little over a month ago that she was prepared to step down. She was gracious enough to give the village and the Zoning Board of Appeals until July 31st of this year, when her resignation will take effect. So I'm going to continue to press the members of the board to get me names of people you think that are worthwhile to interview to see if they would be a good fit. Obviously, as we're looking at, and Megan will appreciate this, and so will Manny, as we look to get training for our planning board members and training for our zoning board of appeals members, you don't have to be an expert in any of those realms, but we're looking for somebody with the proper judgment, discernment, and the ability to digest complex topics and distill them down to something that they can understand. So that's what we're looking for.
Free time on our hands.
Hey.
You know, nice way to transition out, kind of.
I can't serve. I live in the town.
Oh, all right. So, gentlemen, I'm going to give you guys until July 1st, and then I am going to present somebody to the board. So unless I get names from you guys that we can discuss together, I will have somebody available by the 1st of the month, because I don't want to, I mean, she's graciously agreed to stay on, but we do need to get that position filled. All right, moving on. Donahue Committee report. Bill, anything to report on the committee that the board should know?
The community garden is almost entirely full in terms of members signed up, and it is also planted and looks terrific.
Now, what would you say the balance between vegetables and, say, pollinators? Are people doing different things?
It's 61% vegetables and, I don't know.
Oh, I thought, I was like, that's impressive. I was like, that is impressive.
It's mostly.
I figure if anybody had the breakdown, it'd be you.
I'd assume it's mostly
It is
vegetables.
Yeah, mostly vegetables, all right.
Really looks good, though.
No, I've looked in there and looked, saw some names on the stanchions that I recognized, and a lot of, nobody was there when I was there, but I gather there's been a lot of activity.
What about the
with
kid
people
garden?
showing
Is
up.
that thing already started?
Those folks are really, James Jackson and Mara Gaines are.
Sturmer.
Yep, Paul's. They're all over it, and
Love it.
They're bringing that crew in.
Good.
The Cornwall cleanup crew is also active on Donahue Farm, so they've been getting out there and cleaning up any litter that they find. I think they have I forget why their name came up on the just that they've done it and been down there.
Okay.
So in addition, they've grouped those projects together into Donahue Farm improvements, interconnection of Donahue Farm and Donahue Park, and Donahue Park improvements. Those are going to be submitted as part of the New York Forward Grant as they get fleshed out by the planner along with the engineer. I'm just looking through what they met last week, and I'm looking through what was discussed. Central Hudson, they are anticipating sooner rather than later to have electricity supplied from the existing service at the road, so that they can run the pump that powers the well that
Okay.
waters the garden. That well has been holding up. Overnight as they have a generator that they use to turn it on, and they fill rain barrels, large rain barrels, and they turn it off. It rejuvenates overnight. It's still working even in the dry season, in the dry weather that we've been having. They're hoping to do windows and doors at the barn next. Not really much else. They are the wedding that we gave a special event permit to, August 26th. That planning is still in progress. Phyllis is leading the charge on making sure that that happens properly, and that's about it. They've started a composting program for the community garden with the farmers market. So people bring food scraps to the farmers market, and they'll be transporting them over there and using them there. And there is an application put in by the village historian to get a Pomeroy Foundation educational marker at the farm, which will cite some of the former uses of the property.
Yes,
past
she is very excited
generations.
about that, and I think it's a great idea. Bill, at some point in time, you and I and the DPW superintendent and probably Dave Work need to go down there to look at some of the paving that we're considering in regards to the front area
It's a
there.
loaded term. I understand what you mean.
I'm sorry to
Surfacing.
resurfacing, I get it, but at some point in time, we need to do that. I do not want this to go into the winter and have us get a huge bad snow this winter, and then have our guys, tearing up our trucks down there and tearing up the road too. So anyway, let's just, at some point in time, talk about that.
absolutely.
Dave has been on me about that, and we need to do that. Okay, thank you for that. Anything on the Stoll Trailhead? Anything we need to know on that, the
I
agreement?
could defer to the village attorney, or the attorney for the village, but he doesn't want to talk anymore. He received an editable version of that document from Scenic Hudson. He has made a red line. He's going to send it to me just for me to just glance at it. I believe we're on the same page, pretty simple. And then we'll send it back to them, hopefully for them to execute and for us to then execute.
Okay,
I do believe that the suggestions and thoughts about surfacing would be germane to that document. So I think we should make sure that we're not executing that document until we're, all aligned with Scenic Hudson as well on what that might look like. So
Okay.
we should do it sooner rather than later, but we
Okay.
should also make sure we're aligned.
okay. All right, next item of business, a municipal tourism grant. The town and the village, we each wrote a grant. It was pretty easy. Even I could fill it out, and you know how much we applied for a municipal tourism grant from Orange County. We both received it. So the town received $4,999. The village did the same. It is for advertisements, for promotion of tourism. I am working with the deputy supervisor, Wayne Gold, who has run Riverfest for 26 years and is kind of in the advertising business. And I will keep the board in the loop on what he suggests we should expend those funds on. There's a very narrow aperture for where the money can go. It has to be related to tourism, encouraging tourism, branding, signage, website, stuff like that. And $4,999 will go pretty quickly, but I will keep the board in the loop on that. Okay, in regards to FYIs, Cornwall Central High School has their graduation on Friday, June 23rd. The Democratic primary election will be held here, by the way, this morning at 7 o'clock. A gentleman pulled in here and wanted to vote. I had explained to him that early voting is not being held at the village, but on Election Day in Cornwall, the only place that you can vote is Village Hall. And it will be in the Edward C. Moulton Jr. boardroom that we're in right now. If you are a registered Democrat only, there's no Republican primary here. It is on June 27th, which is a week from tomorrow, and between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. The mobile DMV van will actually be 2 days later in this very parking lot at on June 29th, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. They do take an hour lunch break in the middle of it, but we'll do a little bit more messaging on that and make sure it gets out on our website again to remind people. But if you want to get anything, including an enhanced license, you can get it done there. That Wednesday will be the second, it's not on here, but I should have had it on here, will be the second local planning committee meeting. It's going to be held here. So just like the one that we had at Town Hall, this will be the second local planning committee meeting. It will contain the 9 or 10 members of the local planning committee. It will be set up in here. It's open to the public. There is a public comment portion at the end. Everything is open, transparent. And I believe that one is going to be live streamed because we have several people that can't be there. And so I think it's going to be live streamed, but I'll double check on that. So that's going to be a busy week next week.
What's the date of that meeting?
That is the Wednesday between June, so it's got to be June 28th. Yep. And it will be here from 5:30 to 7:30. And it is the LPC number 2 for the New York Forward Grant, and it will be held here. It's wonderful. I don't have to be in charge of it. The state brings a team in for that, but Josh and I are on the committee, so we have to be here for that. Anybody that wants to come in can come in. All right, village offices will be closed, obviously, on Tuesday, July 4th. Okay, yep. And the combined village board work session and business meeting, because in July and August we combine them, they will be held together jointly here in this room, Monday, July 17th at 7 p.m. Monday, July 17th, 7 p.m. The Fireman's Fair, July 19th to the 22nd. Michael, Chief Quinn, that's going to be down in all the old usual places, right? All right.
Absolutely.
So down behind the Cornwall and Hudson Elementary School. And that's it. All right. So nothing else to add. Public comment. Another opportunity. If anybody in the public would wish to speak, they can step up to the podium and speak. Anybody wish to speak? Yes, sir. Mr. Lotharis.
Yes. I just wanted to say once again, seeing how the sausage is made here, I'm sort
Not
of.
pretty.
Well,
It's not
I'm
pretty.
encouraged that, having a board and having good people in this town who, really take care of business, I'm very excited.
Well, thank you for what you're doing. We appreciate it.
I
Thanks for
really
your kind
appreciate
words.
it.
We're best.
Mandy's been great to me. Dave's been great, so I'm really, very thankful.
Code enforcement officer doesn't usually get polite shout-outs like that. There's usually a line of people here complaining about a code that he told them they had to follow, so he appreciates that. All right, thank you for that. Anybody else? All right, the next item and the last item will be board comments. I just want to say one thing before I go around the table. Last week was a pretty tough week for the fire service. On Monday, last Monday, a week ago tonight, the fire department recognized the 50-year anniversary of their line of duty death. Thomas Ringlehan, who passed away, was killed on a way to a job in West Point. His family came back. And Chief and Assistant Chief, I just want to say both of you, I thought that you put together a very somber and appropriate reflection and observance on his life and a celebration with family and with the firehouse. I was truly moved by it, and I think all the folks that I spoke to that was there for the first time were very impressed. So thank you for that. Tough week again for the fire service. On Thursday, we had a FDNY firefighter who was born and raised in Cornwall, graduated from Cornwall Central High School, and took his own life in the town. And on Friday, the fire department from New York City came up to bring the remains back from the medical examiner's office. And then yesterday a wake and today a funeral, and that's why you saw a lot of the FDNY trucks around here. But just a somber reflection on those type of public servants and the pitfalls of those jobs, line of duty death, and then some could argue that somebody that, had a tough job and took his own life, could be considered a line of duty death. So just keep their families, especially in your prayers. And with that said, I'm lastly going to say before I hand it off to the Deputy Mayor, once again, Gene, it has been an absolute honor and privilege to work with you. I can tell you in the last 2 years, 1 month, and 2 weeks, I have learned more from sitting in a chair in your office and having you tell me no, but I've learned more from listening to you than anybody else in the village, and I truly appreciate it. So you're going to be missed. Deputy Mayor Kate.
Couldn't say anything better. Absolute honor for the past 13 years working with you and becoming a friend. I appreciated all your support, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank
And
you.
Doris, welcome aboard. Welcome into the fire.
Careful
You're
what
gonna
you wish
do well.
for.
You're going to do well. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Doris, if you have any questions, just give me a call. I'll explain it all.
I'm not going to say he's going to pick up the phone. You can call him, though.
Yeah. Joe wants to know that technically you're not appointed. All right, Dave.
Thank you for the fire, to the fire department for, the installation, dinner or the awards dinner.
Oh, yeah.
At the river is always nice to go to, and the, great job on the Ringleham, memorial that we had for him for his 50-year, dedication. He grew up, basically on my street, and so it, was nice to see the family. And I think they really appreciated all the efforts that you put forward. Just my condolences to the Hickey family. I actually knew the mother. I didn't really know the son, but the mother was a longtime employee of Cornwall Hospital. Actually, was a nurse there for a long time in the emergency room. And I just found out the other day, talking to people, that she also served 2 tours in Vietnam as a nurse too. So my heart goes out to them. It's rough for that family, and of course the father was also a retired fireman from New York City. So, and Jean, of course, good luck. You don't need it.
She doesn't, right? I think that's.
You don't need it.
All right, Bill.
Yes, I would echo what Dave said. Thank you for the inspection dinner. It was a good time, and and as the mayor and Dave both said, the commemoration of firefighter Ringlehand's passing was an excellent, very well conducted event, and I think very much demonstrating to current young firefighters, especially the appreciation the community feels for recognizing the potential dangers of the job. Gene, thank you. I said more than I should have been allowed to say, given my briefer tenure than the rest, but thank you very much. And Doris, look forward to receiving support and help and similar. Maybe we'll have more of a teaching back and forth, since we're both in somewhat the same boat. And today, I just would point out that today is Juneteenth, the holiday commemorating the day when the Union Army arrived in Galveston and informed the formerly enslaved inhabitants that they had been freed by the Emancipation Proclamation 2.5 years earlier. And that is a holiday that's of great importance to the African American community and to many people around the country. And so I just salute Juneteenth. And that is it for me. Thank you very much.
Well said. Any alibis from anybody? No? All right, with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion to close the meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Please keep in mind that until Doris turns that off, these are live mics, so careful what you say.
As opposed to dead mics.
Sorry, I threw some coconut water on the table here.
The very first meeting you and I were at together was chaos.